And here we are, whiskey in hand, ready to role play a very awkward sex scene. Previously in the GodBreaking, you guys had defeated the. Let's see. Hold on. Where did we pick up last time? Oh yeah, you guys had just defeated the megaliths and their leader. Went by the name of Rigthix, and you guys did it by Adis using his miracle, he basically brought Profane 2 back to life and endowed Deimos with otherworldly abilities, basically awakening an awakened body. Deimos, you were the equivalent of like legendary Super Saiyan. Your size increased to over 100 feet tall. All your stats were maxed out, way beyond godlike, and you saw everything, you knew everything, you understood everything. Your strength was through the roof. You made short work of all the enemies, of all the megaliths in front of you. And then you realized that in this form, you had the ability to actually tear through space and time, like you've been trying to do for ever since you guys arrived in Elysium. So you were able to rip through space and time and went and to the far off underwater fortress of Deep Moot. It was the last bastion of civilization in the Anwenian land. And there, surrounded by megaliths, was Princess Karina and the couple dozen remaining Anwenians. Over the last few years, they had slowly been whittled away, their barriers being broken through as the megaliths just slaughtered them slowly. So what was formerly thousands, when you got there, was just a few dozen. But you guys got there and saved Princess Karina. But you found out that she did not have the Tide Shard. Her mother was the bearer of the Tide Shard at the time, and she was unable to really use it to save her people, but she was able to access its abilities slightly, so that she covered for Karina and her people when they fled the city of Anwen. You guys went back to Anwen via Deimos' ripping through space and time, and Elwyn, you accompanied with Deimos' power, were able to locate and your wish spell, were able to locate the Tide Shard. It was in one of the broken pieces of Rigthix that had been shredded by the waters of the Maw of the Void and ripped away and been sucked towards the center, the epicenter of the maelstrom. You managed to teleport it to yourself with a magical tether, and Deimos got you guys out of there. You all went back to far across the waters to the city of Lumos, where you found the Votalans and the Lumosians people full on at war with the Depatians. Crabs and merfolk were battling out. It's like the last scene of it was like the last scene of Aquaman. You guys see the ending of Aquaman? With all the sea creatures underneath the water, like blasting at each other.
Never saw the movie.
All I've got is Under the Sea now going through my head.
It was surprisingly less bad than I thought it would be. But it was a DC movie,
That's
so
a ringing endorsement. But
so
yes, I recognize it. Yes.
I didn't have as much expectation for another DC movie, so I was pleasantly less disappointed than I thought I would be. And you guys, with Deimos's massive size, and you pulled together the three leaders of the Tide Shard bearers. So it's Queen Delvinia, and Depth Lord Lamprax, and Princess Karina, who now had her Tide Shard. And you went and there were some attempts to make peace. Queen Delvinia would have none of it because of the patience she considered beneath them. And how did you talk her out of it? I don't remember.
If I remember right, Owen promised to get her laid.
Did he?
like hooking her up with somebody. I can't remember with who though.
Oh, I think.
I thought, oh no, no, he rolled like a 70 something on his persuasion check, is what it was.
Oh yeah, I got her to stop being a little. I told her that that we all knew deep down inside she was gonna be a awesome queen or whatever. She stopped being acting like a little bitch.
That's right.
Right,
That's
but
right.
you figured out she was like scared or something. Owen.
Yeah, that she was scared. Yeah.
Yeah, she was deeply insecure, and she clung to all her fashion and her flightiness and stuff as a way to cover up for who she really saw herself as being. So all that stuff. Elvin performed a lot deep psychotherapy on her and got her to agree to the peace. And you guys went out into the middle of the patients, and you found out that. So you talked to this dude. I don't think he had a name. Depation 1 was his name. They don't have names.
Yeah, that was his name.
But you found out that their... What's his name?
Crab B.
Krabby, that's right. He was their leader, their skull-headed leader, from which I'm having a hard time finding the picture of right now, was actually demon infested with a small parasitic demon. So Deimos, you ripped a hole in space-time, and just the size of a, I don't know, like a very small.
Patient 4.
The patient 4, was it?
Yeah.
You ripped a hole in space-time. There he is. And opened up the other side of it inside Kravi's torso, where you were, Adis, you were able to peer in and see the small spider-like demon that was infesting him, and you shoved your hell spike into the little hole and killed it. He returned to his normal form, and Depation 1 became the leader. So then, Deimos, you took the ball of compressed megalith goop. Oh yeah, so Renly, he killed 3 megaliths by slamming them together and compressing them into a ball, and then pile driving the ball into the ground. And there was so much force in Deimos's super legendary Saiyan form that it didn't break them or anything. It took the megalith goop and like super hardened it and compressed it into like a gem, a sphere.
Oh my god.
So, Deimos, you only had half an hour's worth of awakened form left, so you gave all your power and put it into the little crystal that you had made, and you made a new tide shard. So there are now 4 tide shards under the sea. And do you remember what power you gave to it?
It could control like earth stuff that
That's
touched
right.
water.
That's right. Any earth works that, or any soil or ground that touched the water, it could control it. And you gave that tide shard to Depation 1. So now there are 4 tide shard holders underneath the sea. And since you were in an awakened form, you actually had the ability to influence the divine like that, because the tide shards, the 3 tide shards that they had, were actually splinters of Verkul's divinity. When he realized that the war was going poorly, he actually shattered himself into 3 parts, giving up his own soul, but leaving his power in the form of those tide shards. You were able to make a 4th shard with your divinity, with your awakened form. So now the 4 rulers of the oceans all have tide shards, and they began to figure out how their species would live at peace with one another. In the aftermath of the Great War, you had unfinished business with this lovely young woman. Who, let's see, who was it? Was it Elwyn? You talked her into taking on a human form? And to be fair, she was thinking about it anyway. She talked about a sea witch out in the depths of the ocean that was known to be able to give merfolk legs at the cost at a great price. But Adis came in and said, "No, I can do that for you." So why are you linking me this book?
It's a D&D book.
I know. This I've seen it before. This book is nuts.
It's to help you with the part that's coming up with them.
Ah, jeez.
Holy shit! I need this for my shit shows.
Yeah,
It's
you
an
do. I've seen
no,
this before.
before you laugh at it, it's
Oh my
actually
God.
it's a pretty amazing book.
They actually took it seriously. They tried to anyway.
Yeah, they did. They took it very seriously.
Anyway, so Zivarisy took on a human form. Adis, you gave her the form of a sexy
World of
BlizzCon
Warcraft cosplayer
cosplayer.
with a bouncy ass, I think is what Deimos.
Yes, very. Yeah, you basically imagined Deimos's perfect woman, and turn him into this. So Renly, you can look at it in the Discord chat.
And then we had to redo it because we left something out.
Oh my God.
What did you leave out? I forget.
Her ability to access their info web.
That's right. She was okay with this form being permanent. One, because she wanted to be with Deimos, and two, because in this form you polymorphed her into, she could still do all of the information gathering and communication stuff that she wanted to. So we made her into that form, and the session ended with Deimos. Your illusion of her had vanished, had been shattered. You had the illusion of seeing her as Elwyn was broken, but now you see her as this this cosplay chick, and she reminds you of your unbreakable pact that you made with her to go to the Queen's secret vault. So that's where we left off. Zivarisy is... I need a new picture for her.
Oh, Corinna was so into Deimos, and I got really jealous, so I spread the rumor that Deimos was gay.
That's right. Yeah, she
Oh my
was
God.
she was digging you so hard, Deimos.
Hey Midas, I
Yeah.
got that coming right up for you.
Wait, is she still into him now that he's no longer awakened? As such?
we
Or
haven't
is she like,
we have not discovered that.
ooh, because I'm wondering if it was just 5 issues.
Well, there's definitely a size thing. The massive divinity of Deimos was
Yeah, he was walking around with 100 charisma for an hour. Let's
okay.
see here.
Here we
Here you
go.
go, Midas.
I thought his charisma was still 9 up.
Okay, so this is Zivarisy.
I still played it as it was though.
I like my picture better.
I got you a front picture.
I like my picture better.
Mine doesn't have text on it. And
It doesn't matter.
And a download button.
Download that right now. No virus protection on this one.
This is screenshotted from the video.
Oh, if you right click on it, hit the resize and go to small size, it actually looks way better.
Okay. I will do that. Okay. So, Deimos, Zivarisy takes you by the arm and says,
Who are you?
no, the illusion shattered with you and Elwyn. So you see Elwyn's form disappear, and Zivarisy is there in that form, and she says, Deimos, I am the one with whom you made a pact. A pact of everlasting love.
Sounds like something that I would say. Yes. Now let us go into the vault thing, for I have something I need to grab in there. And I'm not talking about that juicy butt.
A look of shock comes across her face, and she says, remember our bargain, Deimos. I will lead you to the Queen's vault and support you in all your endeavors. And you had promised to wed me, and you sealed that bargain with a what do you call it? A traditional physical contact. Traditional physical contact between us.
I'm so confused. What did I do?
You slapped her on the ass, Deimos.
I slap her on the butt again. Does that stop it now?
She says. You see her pause for a second, and her cheeks flush a little bit, and she says, "I'm having trouble." She says, "I'm having trouble processing this body's." She says, "sensations. They are very odd. They are very different from what I'm accustomed to." She says, how do you all manage with just these 4 simple appendages? I'm used to having tentacles, 8 of them, 10 of them sometimes.
Well, you have to understand. I will show you the ways of the Deimos. You just have to do things with more force and gusto.
She smiles. She says, "Are you ready to go to the Queen's private vault?"
Yes, and I'm not there for ulterior motives. Guys, I did it, and they didn't think I'd get in.
She smiles and says, "It's where Queen Delvinia stores all of her most precious valuables."
Okay,
Have fun, Deimos.
let's go in there and see what's in this vault of stuff that's gonna still be there at the end.
Okay, so you and Zivarisy go off in the direction. She leads you off down one of the corridors in the palace. What are the rest of you guys doing during this time?
I went to the general dude and surrendered myself.
That's right. Okay, so General Roman is there, and he and Queen Delvinia and the rest of the leaders are overseeing the processing. As soon as he sees you, he points at you, his trident at you, and his soldiers come up and surround you. Right, and he says, "You have yet to pay for your crimes.
That's why I'm here.
I thought you had been slain, and yet here you stand before me."
You'll find me and my friends are not so easy to kill, but I'm here nonetheless, and I'll stick my hands out together in front.
He nods to his soldiers, and as they wrap manacles around you, and he says, "You will you will submit yourself to the due processing of justice."
But of course.
Okay. So a trial will be held, and as he declares, and Queen Delvinia nods as he looks to her for approval, and guards are posted around you, and your hands are bound. But you notice that at the insistence of Princess Corinna and some of the other, and Queen Delvinia herself even, they allow you to stay around. They're not dragging you off to the dungeon or anything like that. They let you be there, just stay there, stand there.
I'll be well behaved with my guards.
Cool. All right, Elwyn and Renly, what are you guys doing?
I am introducing Renly again because last time she was drinking too much tea and she didn't get a chance to meet my future wife. I just switched over to Fantasy Grounds and saw a big butt.
As you turn around to introduce Renly, you notice that Renly's not there anymore, but you see this little tiny yellow gold flounder with blue stripes tailing after this new Zivarisy 2.0 and Deimos, and you hear the water sort of wave towards you, going like, "Just keep an eye on them, just to make sure that nothing goes pear-shaped."
She's a creep.
Alright, so Elwyn, you get there and you see this little silvery flounder fish just flit off into the water, and
I before it floats off, I handed the camcorder.
And by camcorder, you mean one of our little stones?
Yes.
magically altered to be able to record video.
Yes. I mean, if we have dick pics, we definitely have video capability now.
I heard of something called
what's
the Kardashians, and they became the world domination force by uploading a sex video, and we're gonna do the same thing.
Oh God.
That's what's following you, Deimos.
This is the flounder from Little Mermaid all zombified or something.
Oh God.
All right. So Elwyn, Princess Karina says, "Yes, Elwyn. Did you wish to talk to me?"
I did.
Whip it out.
Damn it, that Ellen would
You
do
can,
that.
Elwyn, you're there. You can feel the power of her tide shard just humming off of her. As soon as you gave it to her, you guys gave it to her. It resonated with her being, and its full power was kind of unleashed. You can see that every move, every flick of her fingers, every toss of her hair influences the waves around her and the currents around her. She's very graceful to begin with, but the water and her ability to influence the very, the ocean itself, it just makes her more radiant. And as she moves, like, you can feel like the pull of the ocean around her. So she says to you, yes, "Well, you have my attention." And as it happens, you can feel the waves kind of pulling you closer to her.
I tell her, Princess Karina, after all this time that you've been surviving, it must feel nice not to fear for the destruction of your people. I know there's been a lot that's been asked of you for the many years since the Ma came. So, let me give you a shoulder. Why don't you tell me, what do you need? Let me relieve some of the stress.
roll a charisma check.
Are you giving her like a shoulder massage while you say this?
You still have foresight on.
I mean, it's the same day, right?
Yeah, it's the same day.
Yeah, I still got about 7 hours on mine.
She says, "Elwyn, the last few years of my life have been filled with stress and fear and an overwhelming concern for my people and despair at seeing them slaughtered before me. With no word from any of my family, my mother gone, my cousins gone." She says, "I was alone and my people looked to me for guidance. I've been bearing the weight of my failure to protect them for years now." And she kind of lets her guard down, and you can see her face, and her posture changes, and you can see the weariness just kind of cross her face, and for a moment. And though she's young, you can see a young woman who's borne way too much pain and tragedy for someone of her age, than is fair for someone of her age.
I see the opening and I go for it. When her face kind of looks down and her shoulders kind of slump, I put my hand gently under her chin and lift it up, and I say, "You have done better than anyone else could have. Without you to guide your people, they would not be here. And I, for one, am honored to have met you. Come, let us forget all this sadness and enjoy the celebration." I whip out some tequila.
She
Careful.
Yeah.
I have a one of my subjects. His name is Pablo. He makes the best tequila. We have a business. It's growing. I mean, it's the best in the land from where I come from. I'll take you to meet him someday. But
She,
here,
she,
try it.
she says, tequila? And she's I'm not familiar with. And she takes a sip of it. Um, and you know, she doesn't really know how to drink hard liquor, so she kind of takes you know, a drink of it like you take it from a glass of water. Um, and you see her face like redden a little bit, and she coughs as she swallows it. And she says, "It burns. It
Oh, it's
burns."
because you're drinking it wrong. Here, let me show you. And I'll pour it, one for me and one for her, and I'll just like take it all down like a shot.
she
Try
she,
it.
she looks at you for a second, and she does her best to copy you. She just downs the whole thing, and you see her like squint her face a little bit, and as she swallows, and she's ah, oh dear. She says,
Wait for it. Wait for it.
and she
You
starts
know
to
how
giggle.
it tingles, like the whole,
Yeah.
like your body starts to tingle, like after.
She starts to giggle a little bit.
Now.
She says, "Oh my, I don't believe we have anything like this in our land."
Well, there are many things that we can teach each other.
She says, "Really now? I'd be curious to see what you're talking about."
I hook her hand like with my elbow, like elbow
Mhm.
like that,
Mhm.
and I tell her, "Have you ever witnessed a dance called Single Ladies?"
Oh, yes. That's a killer move right there.
And while I take her in my arm and for like the next until Deimos comes back, I just want to, you know, just small talk, make her laugh, charismatic, you know, just
Yeah.
you know, just flirt and nothing too much, but
We'll
you know,
have a vid-
just have her have a good time.
Yeah.
we'll have a video for you later on to get her in the mood.
Over the course of the next hour or so, you lead her off to a part of the city that's very scenic. The gardens of the coral gardens of Lumos are well known, and they're arrayed in full beauty. The colors and the luminescent lights. And you know, you provide a charming companion. As the hour goes by, you can see some of the drudgery and the tiredness of all the weight that she's borne for the last few years just kind of like begins to melt away as she is distracted, and she finds herself enjoying your company.
Towards the end,
Mhm.
Elwin is so slick. I'm gonna tell her like where we're laughing and giggling together. Just gonna like seriously say, I don't know if in your culture this shows a sign of affection, but in mine it does. And I'll give her a kiss on the cheek.
She kind of pauses for a second, and she says, "In my culture, that's not how we show affection, but it was not unpleasant."
How do you show affection in your culture?
She says, "Well," she says, "it would be awful forward of me to do anything like that." And then you feel a wave of water just kind of push you from behind towards her, and it gently nudges you closer until you guys are just inches apart, right, face to face, looking into each other's eyes, right? And she leans in and she touches her forehead to yours. with your eyes gazing into each other's eyes. And the the so as your head touches hers, you feel um, not an unpleasant sensation, like more like if anything, more akin to the feeling when Gelly's tendrils kind of wrap around you. It's a mildly electric but very pleasurable kind of like um, calming sensation. You can tell that their biology is different than yours, and there's electrical conductivity to their skin and everything like that. Even though she looks humanoid. And after a few seconds of contact with her head to your head, she backs off a little bit, and she says, and you see her face redden a little bit. She says, "That is how we show initial affection."
I would like to roll an Elwyn special skill.
Okay.
That I've been wanting to roll for a while. Um, I'm not a stranger to the intimate arts, so
Oh God.
Okay.
no, I
Where
just
do
want
you
to.
find that material? On which plane?
I invented it. Yeah, so me being with how Gelly has showed me, and I started feeling that sensation.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to pass it on while our foreheads are touching.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you want me
To return
roll.
it a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's electrical in nature. There's a little bit of like conductivity that's associated with it. Fortunately for you, right, you have had a lot of experience just lately with lightning magic. So with your roll, 35, you find yourself being able to. It's different than the way she does it, but you're able to channel just a little bit and return to her just the tiniest, most subtle, um, absolutely most limited electrical shocks. Right, electrical current. Just pass it back to her. It's different. It's completely different than what she does, but it's of the same. It's in the same
She
kind
gets
of.
the gist of it.
Yeah, yeah. As
Sweet.
that happens, she smiles and she says, "Oh my," she says. Um, she says, "Oh," and you see her face flush a little bit. She says, "Are all service dwellers like you?"
No one's like me.
She smiles and she says, "I dare say you might be right." Okay.
Yeah, we just keep enjoying the day.
Deimos.
Yes, sir.
Zivarisy leads you down a series of corridors. And so this is the view that you get while
I'm trying to remember every turn we make, but I have no idea what's going on.
while she leads you down a series of corridors and tunnels, and you find herself leading you off to the outskirts of the city.
Okay.
You can see that the architecture of this place, there's lots of things that are built into the sea floor and also the wall of this kind of like cliff face
Yeah.
that you guys are bordering.
Yeah. I'm looking at all of that stuff.
And she points up to a piece of architecture, a glorious kind of outcropping from the city. The design is spiraling and majestic. It's quite beautiful. Sparkle. It's a building, like a building that looks like it grew into the side of this cliff face. She points out and she says, "That is," she says, "that is the royal palace, the personal quarters of the monarch of Lumos. That is where Queen Delvinia takes up her residence."
Okay.
She says, "You'll notice that parts of and she points to stretching off of the architecture are like tunnels and tubes and like tendrils that kind of like go off to various areas. One and several of them attached to the cliff face itself. She says, "You'll notice that they connect to the cliff face in several areas. Most people think that that is just for stabilization, and she says, yeah, just for stabilization. But long ago, the rulers of our nation built inside this cliff, inside the rock and the stone here, she says, the most private of personal, she says, the most private of rooms. Says, Queen Delvinia uses one as her vault, and I know where it is because, well, she says, I know everything."
I just do. You know what you said, but I'm nodding my head.
He says, "Deimos,
Yeah, it's my name.
what do you think of me?"
Deimos is chuckling. He does not know what to do.
I don't know what to do, but this seems like the weirdest thing has happened. I don't remember sticking this massive log in front of my pants. I don't know what to do with it. Oh, wait, yes, I do. It's leading me to the treasure. I mean, where's that vault at?
She looks down. She's still looking at your eyes, and she says,
Yes.
"I admit I don't know much of your kind, the surface dwellers,
Okay.
but you have a certain primal animal magnetism to you that I
Yes.
find irresistible.
I'm the greatest bard of all humankind.
In my former physical form, you made me very dry, and I understood what that meant. But now, in this form, you do not, and I do not understand it."
It's okay. The only problem is this is a scientific thing that's going on. As you're around me, everyone can notice that the ocean is actually rising. That's a sex joke.
She looks around. She says, "The ocean is the same as it was before."
Not a very surface, trust me. But yes. I do think the thing that you have done to your body, and I would never change anything about you because this is how you always were, is quite nice.
She smiles. She says, "I'm pleased that you are pleased." She says, "Come now, let me show you to this private vault of Queen Delvinia."
Very good.
She walks you to the cliff face, and she says, "Up there," and she she begins to try to swim, but she finds it kind of slow and difficult. She says, "Oh, gods! She says, how do you people make your way through the water?"
Get a kick
Remember,
with those legs right
I gave
there.
her the things in her hands and feet for swimming.
Okay, yeah, so she's swimming faster than you, Deimos, but she still finds it very awkward. It's much slower than it's about half the speed she would normally be able to swim. She says, I'm going to have to work at this."
You have to work it, girl, you're right. It is working.
So she's swimming up the cliff face, about 40 or 50 feet, and then she leads you to a small crevice in the cliff face. She says, "Here, there's not many know of this, but one of my informants found it." So she says, "It might take a bit of squeezing, but I trust you wouldn't mind being physically close to me as we make our way through this crevasse."
But I'm sorry, were you talking? My face was already in your butt because we're squeezing through. So I was already in squeezing position.
She leads you. She giggles and she smiles and she takes your hand and she pulls you into the cliff face. So you guys make it through. It's very narrow. You have to like sidestep your way through. At certain points, she says, this was much easier when in my old form,
Work it, girl.
We could squeeze through tight spaces much more easily.
I've heard that before. Squeezing through tight places.
She puts her hands on her hips, and you can feel her like holding the bones that of her hips. She says, "I don't understand this skeletal framework." She says,
It's gonna be okay. You need that for the sturdy part.
"In my just in my old form, my body was much more elastic and much could squeeze into tighter places much more easily."
Yes, well, we don't want anything squeezing in any of the tight places around me. We'll leave the squeezing. That's my job.
She pauses for a second. She says,
Yes,
"I think I understand what you mean there.
yes.
Your friend Elwin, he explained to me that you had been harmed, traumatized by tentacles in your past, yes?"
I have no idea what you're talking about. But there is a weird, brief one day at a certain time at night where I don't remember anything, and Deimos remembers everything, besides a certain 4-hour period in one night. It's blocked off.
Just
I can't tell what happened there. But other than that, I've been tentacle free. But I really don't like tentacles for some reason after that point in time. I just don't know how that happened.
she says, "Yes, well, you'll notice I have no tentacles."
But you don't.
She continues to lead you through the crevice, and it kind of winds a little bit. You find yourself going a good 30 or 40 feet before it exits, and you see yourself in like a small enclosure inside the cliff itself. So it looks like, so if this is a small kind of chamber inside the cliff, right? You guys are entering right around here. There's a small kind of opening in the cliff face right here. Well, it'll be bigger than that. It'll be like this size. Okay. That's the tunnel you kind of came in on. So you guys are around this level, and so you're right. Can I put you there? Yeah, you're about this big, and you come out there. Okay. As you enter the room, you see it's kind of small, but you look around, and all along the edges of the walls there are coves and little pockets built into they're naturally formed in the edge of the room, and in those different coves and stuff are items, various different kinds of items, sundry sorts of objects, all glistening and glittering. Some brilliant, some kind of dim. You look around and you see this is literally a treasure room, all around, 360 degrees, all around this place. Coming from the surface, you can tell that the room continues up higher and higher and higher. You can't see where it comes from, but there's a dim light coming from the vertically from upward that kind of casts this whole area in a kind of bioluminescent kind of light.
Okay. I pull out this piece of paper that is waterproof that I was given to by the man sounding angel. And I'm looking for this object that she wanted.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I really don't remember.
It was a dildo.
It was-
I remember what she wanted you to get, but I don't remember why. What were you supposed to use it for?
She just wanted it.
The angel wanted us to get it because she hates, or whoever wanted us to get it was because she hated that
Life there,
princess
yeah.
with a fucking passion. And some shit like that.
Oh, she hates the
Deimos
queen?
made a deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Okay. And what did she promise to give you back or what was the deal for?
She's training for work and she'll do some dope ass building stuff for us.
Okay, that's right. Okay, never mind. I couldn't remember what the promise was. I must have been drinking
Yeah,
a lot
to
that
make
night.
another magic item or something.
Okay. So, So you're trying. You're gonna. So Zivarisy is leading into this chamber, and you're gonna have to look around. Like I said, there's many coves and pockets and stuff all throughout the chamber, with various items stuck inside them. So it's gonna take a little bit of searching to find what you're looking for.
Zivarisy, give me the entire tour of this place.
She
I
says.
want to know the proper area.
She says. Oh, she smiles. She says, "There's not much. This is." She says. She says, This is Delvinia's private vault."
Where she keep her dildo at?
She says, "What?"
Her dildo. I show her the picture. I'd be like, I need this for an angel. I hate to break it to you, lady, but I'm a undercover secret agent that I think has fallen for you. But I still need to complete my mission because I'm a bad boy. And I enjoy that butt. And we're gonna do so many good things. But you have to keep this a secret because you're a secret lady. Because you know Deimos is a bad boy. And you have all of it to yourself.
She says, "Should we start with that, and then be looking for the trinket after?"
Where, I mean,
Use the trinket, Deimos. Use it.
I just need to know where it's at first, just in case shit gets really real. I'd hate to have this cave get, I don't even know, collapsing over the hard work and stress fractures that's gonna be done to you later.
She says to you, "Deimos," she says,
Yes.
"I have waited a long time for this,
Yes.
for you to fulfill your promise to me.
Yes.
I will
Yes,
wait
could
no
happen.
longer."
It was fine. But hypothetically, just before we start, where do you think it would be?
She says, "I will help you search the chambers for your
Okay.
item.
This is your-
After,
This is on you.
just after
First off,
our
we
joining,
go
our
for
contract has been
Yes.
consummated."
consummated. Sure, I know what that word means. Therefore, I can agree to it because I definitely know what that word means. I don't know what that word means, guys. All right, here we go. First off, I'm gonna need to.
I'm gonna cast Death Ward on her.
Trust me. Your lower bits are gonna need that later. I'm gonna get enhance ability on myself at a higher level so I can up all of my shit. Ooh, I want to be dexterous also. And you know what? Ooh, I'm gonna be extra wise because I'm gonna know what she's gonna want.
Okay.
And then, oh, I'm sorry. It's a real shame that I'm powering up all the way up to Super Deimos. Super Deimos.
Okay. You don't. I mean, so you're going through all this stuff. You're a little bit nervous. You don't even notice that all of those spells are concentration, so you can't maintain them all at the same time.
I
But
don't know what's
you
going
really
on.
think that they are all working at the same time.
Alright, girl. But for real, I hope you're ready for a pounding.
She pauses. She says, "A what?"
Which is just real easy. So what you do is, we talk about our feelings and then we're done.
She says, "Don't be silly, Deimos.
Just joking.
I know what to do."
Oh shit, okay, got my bluff.
She grabs you by your shoulders and she pulls you and she flaps her, pushing as hard as she can with her legs. She shoves you into the side of the wall here and slams you
Jumps
into the
on
wall.
you. I'm gonna take a dick save. Flip her around.
No, it's not good enough.
It was not good enough. Oh shit. Oh shit.
She slams you into the wall, right? And
I flip her upside down.
you're slammed. You're held against the wall in the water. Right? She's very close to you. She's looking at your eyes, right? And she says, Let the consummation begin.
It's a real shame. I'm sorry, my dear, for the sins that are about to be committed. May Tempest forgive me, for all on high shall know that things are about to get wrecked.
She grabs you and she spins you around so you're facing into the wall. Right? And she pushes you in against the wall.
A second, I'm going to say, oh, sorry, honey. I'm already behind you. And this is how the Deimos goes to town.
She
You got it wrong, girl.
Wait, so what are you doing? You're trying to spin her around?
Yes, Deimos don't want to be no around in this underwater place full of tentacles that I have no idea why I'm afraid of them.
She as you try to wrestle her around, she breaks contact and she backs off a little bit and she says, "What are you doing?"
Why were you turning me around?
She says, "Because that's how this works, isn't it?"
No, you see.
She says, Deimos,
There.
let me. She says,
Yes.
"Hold on, darling, hold
so.
on."
I
She says,
don't believe this
"Turn
is a thing.
around, face
Turn
the
around.
wall."
Nope. I don't think this is how this works. I'm like 97% sure now. Everyone gave me the 3% doubt. But I'm like pretty darn sure that this goes there. You're just now used to your body, I believe.
She says, "Hold on." She says, "You don't have to face the wall then. Just turn away from me." She says, "I will turn away from you too." She spins around.
Oh, I trust you on this one. Okay, I turn a little bit.
In full defensive attack mode.
Okay, so her back is facing your back. She kind of maneuvers around. She breathes deeply. She says, "Okay, Deimos. I'm about to begin. Are you ready?"
I'm gonna go with probably yes.
And she leans her back up against you, so your back is touching her back.
Yeah, that's my back.
And she begins rubbing up and down, backwards.
Oh, is this all we have to do? Okay. Deimos got out of this one real easily.
About a minute goes by, and she says, "Something's wrong."
Yeah.
She says,
Oh.
I
Yeah,
don't
we don't do it like that here.
I don't understand. Deimos, what?
Oh.
This isn't working.
Shit.
What's going on?
Let me tell you. So I got this pamphlet right here.
And I take it it's the pamphlet of the Fire God, Thunder of the Sky, from Elwyn, and it's
I was sleepwalking to get more protein powder one day, and I came across Elwyn's personal book of fantastical moves. I thought I was gonna learn some spells because I'm a wizard and all, but inside I saw these new workout moves that I'm very willing to try with you, which I think are the things that we're supposed to be doing. It says Elwyn's Karma Sutra.
So you guys are still back to back as you pass the pamphlet to her, and she begins flipping through it as your back is still touching her back. She says, "I don't understand." She says, "These diagrams are," she says, "these things are impossible."
Impossible. Don't say impossible to me, for I am Deimos' friend of Elwyn. And
Then-
Elwyn did these things when he was 13, literally. Look, he wrote his age. You know, normally your parents like measure your height. He measures his sex stuff with his age.
She says, "What? He wants me to do this?"
Yeah.
And then, as in that moment, you hear the clattering of some stone against stone from the opposite side of the room.
Quick, we must hide.
You
I have no
turn over
idea
there,
what's going-
and you hear a gasp.
What is it? No, Kelly, no.
You see Gelly there, completely shocked, her hands over her mouth, as she gazes at the two of you, leaning back to back against each other.
Yes, sir, Kelly.
She says, no, no, no.
No, these are
No,
the
no,
workout
no.
routines. Yeah.
She says, how can this be?
I'm so confused right now.
She says, Gelly was swimming in water and sensed Zivarisy, head of communication network, had come to cliff. Gelly found entrance in cave and sought out Zivarisy, and Gelly found this place with Deimos and Zivarisy doing these things.
Yes.
She looks around the room. She says, look at all this stuff. She says, look at this trove. Treasures untold. She starts swimming around the room. She says, how many wonders can one cavern hold?
Probably a lot, I'm gonna go with.
She's spiraling around the room, looking at all the different crevices and looking around the room. She says,
Kelly,
looking
I
around
have
her,
a
you
picture.
think the
Well,
queen
I'm
has.
gonna do terrible things that you cannot look at. I need you to look at stuff around this cavern that may or may not look like this large dildo right here.
She looks at the picture. She says,
You're on
Sh-
dildo
sh-
watch.
she says, the queen, she has everything.
Yes. Yes, Kelly, you should.
She
You
says,
should get
look
it.
at this stuff, and she reaches to the wall and she pulls out like a corkscrew and a pocket watch, and she says, isn't it neat? And she holds it up to your face.
Very neat, Kelly. Yes. Yeah, so cool. Alright. Well, it looks like if Kelly's here, unfortunately, as much as Deimos would like to, it looks like we cannot finish this thing that we were going to do. So I will have to go now find the Queen's dildo.
Zivarisy is standing there in the corner, and you see her flipping through the pamphlet, and she comes back up to you, Deimos, and she says,
Yes.
Deimos, she
Yes.
says, I think many of these things in this book are quite impossible.
If I might help you, I think
You
you,
look at-
need the dildo.
You do see a flounder. You see a flounder talking to you, Deimos.
Hey, Flounder.
But you need the dildo to do some of those things. I
Flounder.
suggest you go find it now. Kelly,
Flounder.
shall we do a tour of the place?
Kelly, please go with my Flounder friend here who I've just met and find thy dildo.
Gilly says, yes, Gilly will find thing,
But
dildo.
never ever say anything about it ever.
She says, dildo? Is that what this is called?
It-
You sure it's not a gadget or a gizmo?
it's-
Oh,
it's
who's it?
galore.
Or what's
She's
it?
got thingamabobs.
The Thingamabobs.
Yes, she's got 20 of those. But I want the biggest one she has.
She looks around the room. She says, Gilly will find them.
Get it?
Okay, so Gelly and Renly, you guys start looking around the room for.
And I will suggest to Zivarisy, I think you need to work on your body language. And then I big.
Betty language.
Your body language.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Nemo starts flexing the shit out of things.
Good. Zivarisy, I'm
Zi-
ready to have my
No,
speed
Zivarisy,
score
she
go up
she
again.
starts to have a panic look on her face as she's looking at the diagrams. She says, Deimos, wait a moment. She says,
Yes.
look at this picture here. She
Yes.
says, I have a what? And you have
Baby.
what?
Oh, this is insane. What are these things?
She says, this is terrible.
This is great.
She looks at you and she glares in your face. I will not be stabbed with anything.
Oh, yes. Okay. That's fine.
She says, this is barbaric. Everyone knows that procreation and intercourse occur through the sensation of the flesh, skin pressed against skin, and where the most sensational and the most concentrated portions of nerve endings are along the back, along the spinal column. This is why my people press our backs to each other.
Penetration is optional. Moving on. Kelly the Three.
She says, "This is barbaric."
Yes. But this is how they do it on the land. Like animals.
Gilly says, "Is that what they do, along with dancing and walking
Yes.
around?
I have
Jumping?
no idea. Last time this happened, I got stabbed.
She says, like, you people are marvelous. She says, you can walk, you can run, you can stay all day in the sun.
All day. But, oh shit, I forget what comes next. Only your Little Mermaid quotes.
All right, Renly, roll a investigation check.
You can totally be part of that world. Oh my god, that was good.
All right, so you and Gilly find it. It's in a crevice, a cove, and across the top is labeled thingam. I can't say it. I've been drinking. Thingamabobs. And there's 20 of them. There's 20 dildos in this area.
Give me the biggest one you have in there.
There's one that is.
We have to put them side by side and compare which one's the tallest and which one's like the widest.
Okay. All right. Gilly will find best one. So she starts lining up the thingamabobs.
Alright, well, Zivarisy, I guess if you want. You don't want to do this, obviously I'm not going to try to say we should because it is improper to impose something upon a fine woman such as yourself.
She looks
Why
at
don't you focus on that rubbing, people?
Alright.
I fear if I analyze
Let's do some.
photos-
We'll do some front rubbing. We'll just rub each other in the front.
She looks at you skeptically. She says,
Skeptical.
I don't know. You're kind. She holds up the pamphlet to your face. And she says, "Your kind are barbaric."
Here we are. Tell me more about that dirty talk.
Roll a charisma check. Roll a charisma check, Deimos.
Yeah, charisma check, right? Oh, yeah.
That's not bad. How in the world do you have a plus 8 to charisma? That's a save.
You got a 9. You have a 9. It's a minus
Solid
1.
9. I got a 9. My bad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just so used to rolling saves to not die.
She says, "Deimos,
Yes.
I don't believe you.
What?
Says, and as your betrothed, I think we should do things the right way. Just turn around, Deimos, and face the wall."
Nope. There's only one thing to do. I have to spark my charisma roll. Yes. So that 9 turns into a 18. And I want to guidance it. So that is a 22.
13 times 3? 39.
Yes.
Oh, no, it's a 2. It's a 2. Oh, not a 3.
It's a 2. Yeah, it's a 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
To 26. She's looking in your eyes. She says, "Very well." She says, "I acknowledge that your anatomy is different than that of any reasonable sea creatures. So I'm
You
willing
need that frame there with the bones. That's what this is for.
to give you the benefit of the doubt. So I will let you." She says, she pushes the book back in your face. She says, "Choose one."
I flip through one and pick a random one.
No. Hold on.
Yes.
While I'm walking around, I'm like, oh shit, I forgot to tell Deimos. Start with something soft. So I teleport him.
The vidstone is on. You can see everything that's going on in this cavern, okay?
Oh, she's live streaming it? Okay.
I'm live streaming it.
Oh, Dama, or Midas, you totally got to let everyone in the material plane get in on this.
All the other people with sending stones?
Yep.
So
Okay.
I tell Deimos, starts with something soft. Soft for Elwin.
Oh shit!
Go
Stop
with the
it.
go with the three-legged Tarrasque. Page 284.
Oh my
I
god.
pull out the three-legged Tarrasque on page 284.
I whisper to Zivarisy, if it doesn't work, I'll get you your tentacles back. I got your back. I mean, you got his back. Go.
Let's do this thing.
She looks at you and she pauses. She says, I don't know of what you are speaking of, Flounder. She says, but I personally have never fucked a fish. So you keep your back to yourself. I will keep my back to myself.
Yes.
Want your tentacles back or not? And I start grumbling to myself.
You look over and Gelly has lined up, all 20 of the thingamabobs, one by one, from smallest to largest, and she says, Renly, Gelly has done it. This one is longest, however, it is also, she says, thinnest.
Grab them all.
No, we grab the longest and grab the widest. That way Satlizer will be happy.
Okay.
And the one in the middle, just in case.
Check them for magic.
Oh, yes, this is a very good idea. Thank you, Sending Stones. I mean, yes, thank God this is a two-way. Okay, so yes, I will take the time to detect magic on this stupid thing, in this stupid place, and I will spark that and be like, come on, bitches, find
is
whatever
that-
we need to find.
Is that a ritual?
It will be a ritual.
It is? So 10 minutes?
Yep.
Okay, 10 minutes.
Damn.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. So you start casting detect magic. All right. So Deimos, back over to you and Zivarisy. She's looking at the picture on page 284. She says, this one is the one you chose?
Where I heard her voice in my head from the heavens.
She says, this. She looks at and she says, okay. She says, this appendage goes here,
Yep.
and this appendage goes here.
Yep.
And she grabs your arm. This appendage here, and so Deimos, roll an intelligence check to see how well you can decipher the diagram.
Diligence, you say?
Can I guide myself?
Sure. Oh, okay. Okay, so it's a pretty tangled looking picture with like appendages everywhere, but you're able to decipher which ones are which, and you get yourself in sort of an approximation of what you think it should be.
Yes. Alright.
And she says, okay. She says, we've assumed the correct orientation. She says, with
Yes,
appendages in correct
right.
places. She says, now
Very
what?
good. I believe as Owen once said, let the banging commence.
She says, that sounds painful.
Oh no, I don't know. I did hear a lot of screaming though. Honestly, very thin walls between me and Owen's room, and sometimes they would just come into my room and still keep doing it with girls. And I'm like, Owen, I'm trying to sleep. And he'd be like, tough tits. And then he'd be grabbing tits.
What?
I
Grabbing
don't
what?
know. Tits, those right there. I grab them and go honk honk.
she gasps for a second, and she cracks you on the side of the head.
Wait, no, that's on page 386. Sorry, wrong one. Wrong move. Alright,
She
let's
says,
do this thing.
she says, in your culture, she says, she points to them. She says, are these sexual organs? Is this where the reproduction occurs?
I believe so.
She says, how very odd. In my culture, she says, that is where we store most of our, she says, ancestral memories.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's hope they're not there, because if not, they're gonna get stirred right up.
All right, Deimos. By this point, you turn around and you see Gelly and Renly holding three 3 dildos. One is the widest, one is the longest, and one is just in the middle.
Okay, good. But if you don't want to do this, I can just take those things right there and we can not do it.
She
Unless
said-
you feel 100% comfortable.
Zivarisy says, "If we do not do this, will we still be married?"
Maybe. You know how it works.
She looks at you,
Deimos is a
Renly.
terrible liar.
She says,
You see,
Renly,
she sees me shaking my head.
Flounder betrayal. Flounder betrayal. Deimos is gonna get away scot-free.
she says, Gelly says, Gelly will leave you to your, she says, tanglement. She says, looks painful. She says, but Gelly has seen all the wonders of this cavern, and Gelly is holding your treasures that you have taken. She says, Gelly is sure Queen will not mind.
Yes. And don't ever tell the queen.
Gelly says, Gelly would not tell Queen. She says, if Gelly were ordered not to by Gelly's superior. And she looks at Zivarisy.
Ew.
And Zivarisy says, Gelly? She says, she looks at the diagram. She says, in 5, she says, no. In 10 minutes time, she says, Deimos and I should have completed our entanglement. She says, if I am satisfied that our marriage has been consummated, she says, then I would order you to never tell the Queen of what has happened here. However, she says,
it wasn't part of this agreement.
if this surface dweller does not fulfill his end of the bargain, she says, yes, please alert the Queen of all his transgressions. Gelly says, Gelly understands, and she begins to flit out through the passageway. Zivarisy says, now Deimos, it is time to finish your to follow through on your promise to me.
Very good.
All right, Deimos, what are you gonna do?
I'm going to.
Look, follow step by step of what this has to do.
All right,
There
That
are
one
no
is very
words,
thorough.
just pictures.
it's just pictures.
man.
It's just pictures. Just pictures. So,
Okay.
It's like an IKEA diagram.
yeah.
Deimos is gonna warm her up by pretending he's a Tarask, mounting a Tarask. And I'll be like this.
And then we're gonna get real serious. And then we're gonna be like,
I'll be like, what does Tarask wants a baby Tarask? Yeah, baby Tarask. I don't fucking know what Tarask say for sex. But I say, as Elwins once said, bottoms up. And I told that bottom up. And then we go to town.
All right. So, Renly, do you leave with Gelly, or do you stay in the room with your videotaping, your live stream?
I'm totally keeping the live streaming on. So that was the porno. I am also continuing to mumble my detect magic, and I'm going to be focusing on the room since I can totally focus on other things since other people will have their eye on them. So it's perfectly safe.
Okay. All right. So you realize that all 3 of them have some pretty some pretty significant magical tendencies to them, magical properties to them.
but yeah. So I did cast Death Ward on that lower area, and I'm in the second stage of my thing, and I kept the charisma one on myself.
Okay. All right, Deimos. 3 performance checks in a row.
Alright, but I'm guiding myself on the worst one.
Okay.
Wait, performance, not athletics. It's bullshit. This is the Tarask. It's aggression. Animalistic.
Okay. I'll let you
Does
replace.
it an advantage or disadvantage for Kama Sutra?
I'll let you replace one of the performance checks with an athletics check.
Okay. Can I pick at the end? performance. Alright,
And then for the worst one.
are you ready for this? And then I'm sparking it. I'm sparking the shit out of it. My last one. This is for going home. Oh yeah, so times
90.
All right.
God.
So it
All right.
starts off slow and then
It starts off feebly.
All right.
It's
So-
just my first time, Zivarisy. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, I don't know. Also, Deimos, what you doing? Oh, let's get in this. Oh, wait a second. Maybe if I do this and then 90 destroyed.
Okay. So, an hour later. All right. So the outline of the room has changed. So that place where you were standing is now a crater. And you guys find yourselves in here, in the room.
It's the weirdest thing ever. Just a new storage hole.
And yeah, custom alcove has been carved into the wall. Zivarisy is there, right? And you, in your full festivities, in the full height of your gusto, you have managed. She's there looking at you. You have managed to break the spell that was on her, right? And you find yourself like, fully exhausted and spent and tired, having burned all the calories in your body, right? And you're lying there, and her tentacles are wrapped around you, and she's looking up at you, and she says, "Well, Deimos," she says,
You get here.
that was an experience. She says, I do believe that you tried your most earnest and honest best. She says, I must admit I felt some sensations that were entirely foreign to me, and it seems as if the enchantment that held me in surface dweller form has been broken. She says, would you consider our marriage now official and consummated?
Well, it depends on what you think.
She says, in your perspective, in your opinion, would you say that you have consummated the marriage upon me?
I would say yes.
Very good, very
Only
good.
in land form. I mean, not in underwater form.
Yes.
You have to do it both ways.
What?
She
Erwin, get me out of here.
says to Renly,
Yes.
she says, Renly, that is a very good point. She says, come, Deimos, now let us do this the underwater way, just to be fair.
Just back rubbing. This sounds very athletic.
You feel the tentacles wrap all around you as she spins you
Bam.
around, and she pushes you against the wall, and her back shoves against your back.
That back. I slammed that back.
Clench those cheeks.
No. You don't have advantage anymore.
Jinx.
You're exhausted. You're physically spent.
5
So-
levels exhaustion, baby.
Fine. I'll take that 12. I'll take that 12. Give me that back. Still at 38. Breaking that. And let me add a guidance on top of that. Yeah. That's in the 40s. That's 41. Yeah, that back. That back's mine. Deimos destroys that back.
She pushes her back
Oh,
against
that's
yours,
so-
and you can feel little spines extending from her back, like prickling into the flesh, into the skin along your spine. And it's like
Listen,
painful, but it's also there's like electric shocks going up and down your back, and her tentacles wrap around you back. And she says, "Okay, Deimos, now it's my turn."
Do my Elwyn Deimos spider sense tingle?
The Midstone is recording all of this, man. You can see it live.
All right, Deimos. 3 Constitution checks in a row.
No.
Is Deimos going to come out of this even more scarred than he has been before?
Wait, you don't have advantage anymore. You don't have advantage in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
situation.
Let me get this.
Yeah, get rid of the advantage.
And check or save.
We can do saves. That's fine.
Oh, saves. Oh, fuck.
No,
Okay.
no. Wait. You did checks the first time. Do checks now.
Checks.
So no disadvantage,
Okay.
just checks. So here we go. 3 in a row. Okay. Okay. Over the course of the second hour, and Renly, you experience some very odd things. Over the course of the next hour.
Deimos doesn't normally cry.
Is Rinley having flashbacks too?
Oh no, I'm busy like detecting magic this whole place because it takes a while. And I look and I analyze the dildos, I analyze the chains and the whips and all of the other,
Oh.
like stuff.
Oh, Rinley, I linked you a picture earlier of the shelf you were looking at.
You did where?
It's my last link.
Aha! I see this. Yes.
Wait.
And I'm like
Oh, it's in
analyzing.
chat. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Oh my
I think
goodness.
there's even 20 there too. 2, 4.
These are all the
6,
different demon and dragon dildos,
12,
aren't they?
14,
Yeah.
16. They're fantasy dildos.
Look at the blue one. It's like a genie in the middle.
That's like jellyfish something? I don't know. What the heck? But
What's the
yeah.
one on the right? Is that like a tail or?
Wait, the black one or the?
Yeah, the thing that's wrapped around it.
Oh, jeez. I don't know.
That's probably a pump for pumping it full of air.
Look under the blue one. Is that a penguin?
It's a penguin.
It's totally a penguin. I got the bow tie.
There's even a double glass one. that
I
you
see
can
the,
use.
I see a double glass one.
What do people do with this stuff?
I don't know. I want to see something.
I'm sure Deimos wouldn't know.
And Deimos, they use them to indulge fantasies.
So I would have liked to
Okay.
see. They should have put
What's
something
their
that we
fancy nut?
of known size and there for scale, like a yardstick or something, just so we know how big these things are.
Oof.
Oh, jeez. Okay. All right. So 2 hours later, so Deimos, you have like parts of your body are red from lash marks and from suction cup marks. Parts of your body, there's a little bit of blood, not large amounts, but from where the spines kind of like entered your back along the sides of your spine. There's little pinpricks of blood, of dried blood. There are some burned areas from electrical current having passed through your body, and you have some abrasions on your face and on your shoulders from where you were like pushed up against the rocks in various ways. You also are now able to breathe easy as the tentacles have stopped wrapping around you. So after all is said and done, she looks at you and she says, "Well, Deimos, or should I say, husband of mine."
Ewan, why are you talking to me like that?
She says, "I believe that all conditions have been met. We may now proceed and introduce ourselves to the royal court as husband and wife."
Well, I thought we weren't gonna do that until we have to go get out of here. Get the dildos out. We have to
Of
save
course,
the
of course.
land. It's time of the Evans. Also, we might as well just take Adis with us because, I mean, we already saved the ocean, so we might as well save the land. And if he dies, he dies. And, oh yes, I'm gonna go over here and just cry a little bit, but it's fine.
Deimos, I also make a wisdom saving throw just to see how well your trauma level, your psyche.
PTSD phobia.
Oh, okay, you're good. You're good.
Ooh, that actually helped. You're recovering.
Yeah, that's right. Those things don't even scare me that much. They even
Deimos,
scare me a little
Through it
bit.
all, I mean, you're banged up a little bit. You're not exactly sure what happened, but you find yourself that you are no longer terrified of tentacles.
She totally rocked your world.
Or I mean, just smashed my face into a rock. I don't know exactly what it was, but
She says, "My apologies for that." She says, "Males of my species do not have as firm a skeletal structure as you do, and when you press them against the rock like that, their body conforms to the surface of the rock face."
sounds weak.
She says, "Shall we depart now? I would not
Elwyn
want
hits
the
out
queen." What?
from the rock. Pussies.
Let's
I
go.
would not.
Let's get out of here.
She said, "I would not want the queen to find that we have been using her quarters for carnal pleasure."
Yes.
Indeed, yes, that's a great idea. Could you help me with this? And you see, the flounder is next to a small pile of stuff that the flounder has been dragging into a pile because they're very magical, and just wants to take them with.
Can we pause real quick?
Okay.
I stood up to go to the bathroom. So what happened? Did Deimos?
Nope.
They
nothing
consummated their relationship both ways.
The human way and the undersea way. They spent an hour in each way.
It was very electric, but not as electric as yours. His is more spiny and
Right.
barbed.
So you took her to Pound Town, and then she did some stuff to you.
I think so.
It was 2 hours long, baby. That was great. I got a lot of investigation going on in here.
Why was there a flounder in a Batman costume in a closet over there slowly masturbating? I don't know what was going on. It was like I'm detecting magic items, I swear.
Don't mind me. I'm
Yeah.
detecting magic.
detecting
I mean, I left the
magic.
video. I left the vid still to record everything for everyone else, and so everyone else kept an eye on you. I
That's
mean,
what she said the whole time. The flounder. Oh, I'm just putting this stone right here to get out the right angle, she said.
Guys, you guys know that Gail knows the Kama Sutra inside and out. She's Indian, and the Kama Sutra is Indian in nature. So I'm just saying. Renly is in the know. She's in the know.
She's the real Elwyn. She's Elwyn's master.
we find out.
All right. So you guys exit the. So Renly, you get your sack full of baubles and trinkets and who's it's and what's it galore. All right, so I'm putting. Yeah, we're putting a bag in your inventory,
I'll be right back.
or an object in your inventory. It's called Who's It's and What's It's galore. Okay.
Yay! Oh my god.
Midas, is
Yeah.
Elwyn proud of his boy or not?
You've been watching the whole time.
Oh yeah.
The first time you saw it was a little bit of fumbling, and there were some awkward times. There, it was like watching a like a 5-year-old kid
A
trying to ride.
three-legged giraffe.
Yeah, trying. It's like watching a 5-year-old kid trying to ride a bicycle without training wheels. There's a lot of crashing, and a lot of awkward kind of like, ouch, and stuff like that for the first hour. The second hour, it was like the little it's like Deimos was just like. You were more proud of the second hour.
Alright, so there were
Where
some
she
scrapes-
led.
Yeah.
There were some scrapes and bruises along the
Oh
way.
yeah,
but you
lots,
managed to
lots.
pedal?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So, as you guys exit the cavern, Zivarisy sends a signal off to you see Gelly waiting outside, and Zivarisy gives her a wink, and Gelly nods. And Zivarisy says that all secrets will be kept because the marriage has been consummated, and you guys head on back towards the royal assembly point.
Does she understand that this was broadcast over the World Wide Web?
I don't know if she knows that. All right, Adis. Oh, is Adis here?
Yep.
All right. So
Yep.
Adis, you've been clapped in chains, and the as you're there, um,
Totally let it. I totally actually contemplated letting the general watch too, but instead of that too.
so you're clapped in chains, and as you're kind of just hanging around, there's lots of stuff going around there. You can tell that there's certain things that are more important than trying your case right now.
Oh,
I
of
mean, there's
course.
there's there's over millions of patients that have to have a place to go, so they're trying to work that out. While it's happening, Queen Delvinia breaks away from the larger governing assembly, and she comes over to you. She gestures with her hand, and the guards kind of um, leave the area. So it's just you and her.
Okay. I'll give her like the respectful nod since she is a queen and so forth and so on, or bow. I'm not
Mm.
sure. Did they? We learned their etiquette here, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Then I'll give the appropriate level of bow and so forth.
Okay. And she acknowledges you, and she says, I have learned a lot of myself in the time that you and your friends have been here. She says, I've learned to look beyond my walls and to allow others to participate in what we are doing, to recognize the strength in rulers and in powerful individuals from beyond, to realize that I do not have to be everything in and of myself. Yes, I have learned these things. I understand more now. I have grown in some ways. Yes, but one thing I do not understand yes, is why you tried to harm me. Yes, please, just I know that your people were not that you and your friends were not trying to destroy or attack or subvert my country. You've made that evident. But why did you try to harm me?
I'm thinking of how to word this correctly. It seems like a mute point now since, you have definitely changed. But you wield an extraordinary power. That can be an extraordinary power for good. Yet, please forgive me, Your Highness, but you wielded it like a child.
She nods a little bit. She says, I acknowledge your perspective. She says, Do you think. She says, Do you think that one such as I, who has the ability to control the minds and the wills of others, she says, do you think that people will ever truly trust me and respect me and follow me as their queen?
Can we see the Depatians from where we are?
Yeah, I mean, there's thousands and thousands of them. They're all kind of organizing and going off to different sections of the city. You guys are on the Royal Terrace, so yeah, you guys are elevated above the rest of the city and the armies, so you see everything.
I'll, I'll say, it's fair to say that the Depatians have been y'all's mortal enemies for a very long time. Yet you, in your wisdom, helped secure peace with them. I wouldn't see any reason not to trust you, but as to whether your people will trust you with the power that you wield will be determined solely on how you use it.
She says. She nods her head a little bit. She says, I see. I think that I have been a bit too flippant with my use of the Tide Shard. And I think I have to earn the trust of others through my actions and my words more than the force. And she holds a Tide Shard in her hand. That is in this piece of magic.
That is a very wise way to look at it.
She looks up at you and she says, do you think, she says, do you think that I can do this? That I can be a good queen? And not one that you think should be removed and powers stripped from her?
I think you've already proven that you can be.
She nods. She says, I hope you are right. And as my first... Go on.
Given your history with the Depatians, only a wise leader could have seen the wisdom in making peace instead of fighting a war that would have cost you both much, with no sure victor.
She says, I don't know if I'm wise, but not yet. But I do trust that you and the others have a bit more insight than I do. And I can acknowledge that. Yes. And as my first act as a benevolent queen, I give you my pardon. It was not right to hurt me, but, she says, it made me think, so perhaps it was the correct thing to do.
That is most gracious of you, Your Majesty, and I'll give her a bow.
She gestures in the air, and the guards return and they release your shackles. She says, thank you for all you did in saving my people from this war. For that, I will eternally owe you a debt.
I greatly appreciate it. Can I offer one more tidbit of inspiration?
She nods.
I'll lean in and I'll tell her, don't you dare marry that dickweed general, because he is a dick. He's a giant fucking dick, and he is not good enough for you.
She nods. She says, thank you. She says, I will certainly
Now that
consider
prince, on the other hand, he's pretty cool dude.
Well, he did
The
have more
other-
points. She says, he did have more points after the contest, so perhaps he is worth considering.
And that other general guy, the cool general, he's a pretty cool guy too. He's like legit honorable dude.
She says, I will consider it.
There's always Elwyn too.
She shakes her head. She says, have you seen the way Corinna looks at him? And the way he leers at her?
That's only because he told her that our friend that she really wanted was gay.
She says, I think that one is not for me.
But those other two would be perfect candidates. Either of those would be good matches.
I will take your advice, she says, to heart, and truly consider it. Thank you, Adis.
Always a pleasure, Your Majesty.
She nods. Okay.
Once I'm released and away from her, I'm going to send a message with sending to What's-Her-Bucket over in the Ruin City.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we made our deal for me to borrow the little octopus dude that I've got hanging around with me, We never actually established how long I could borrow him for, and I want to send a message to her and ask how long I can borrow him. Because we never actually set a time limit on how long I could borrow Profane 1.
Profane 2. Profane 1 is
Or
still back there.
Profane 2. Yeah,
Um,
Profane 2.
okay, so you're sending a message to Sashier, and, okay.
Yeah, and I'll basically just say in the sending, we never established how long I could borrow our mutual friend. Wanted to double check on that.
Okay. A few minutes go by, and you hear a voice coming back through to your head. The mistress wishes me to inform you that the threat and the danger of the megaliths is past. So the immediate need she has for Profane 2 has passed as well. You may continue in your use of him, he says, until she recalls him.
I will send a message to Profane 1 and ask him if she can pull him back or if it will be I need to bring him back.
She says, she will be able to recall him at will. The mistress is one of great power.
I'll send an. Hold on. What level is sending? I forget.
I don't know. I don't care.
Well, I want to make sure I mark up. Okay, it's level 3. Oh, okay.
Okay.
So I got plus. I'll send him another message, and I'll thank him, and tell him to pass along my gratitude to his mistress, and I'll also. And then when I'm done with that message, I'm gonna send another one right away, and be like, hey, if you ever want to come hang out and chill with us, and kick some douchebag ass, you're more than welcome to join us.
He says, the only reason I am honoring you with communication is because you bear the hell spike of my mistress. That is the only reason, Earthling.
I'll send him another message and say, it's okay, dude. You can admit that you like me.
Alright. Okay. So you can hang on to Profane 2.
Okay.
Okay, so you guys, a little bit of time goes by. You guys all reconvene and check in with each other. You share the common stories. You, Renly, you show them. You have your who's it's and what's it's galore. Your bag of that. Deimos, you have the 3 dildos, one thin, one fat, and one thin and fat.
Wait, didn't Satellizer tell us exactly
No,
what it looked
one
like?
long and fat. Yeah. I mean, she drew I mean, she told Deimos, and Deimos drew a sketch of it.
Oh.
So, Deimos' sketches are like a kindergartner with crayon.
So
I picked the ones that were
why
the
not?
sparkliest.
Renly, just take the whole freaking collection. She's not gonna be single for very much longer. She ain't gonna need them anyway.
It's fine. I needed space.
No,
and
trust
space
me.
Those
and
were the
water.
Trust
most
me,
magical
I
best
just-
ones.
I just hooked her up with the prince. She's not gonna need them anymore.
Well, I mean, what you guys have learned is that merfolk don't reproduce the same way that people do.
Yeah.
So she definitely wasn't using those things for what a surface dwelling woman would have been using them for.
Ah, so they were torture implements for surface dwellers.
Okay, so you guys are all back
Pegasus,
together.
I found your collection.
So now, guys, it's time to go up top.
What do you guys want to do?
Oh, wait. Ellen,
Land.
hold on. I'm going to make us a dome. I'm going to make us a dome to hide out in, and I'll black it out so no one can see in.
Okay.
So, Renly, we found out last time that General Dickweed isn't the rightful holder of the shards, so they can't put them together.
That's Death Lord Lamprex.
Yeah, Dickweed Lamprex.
So who is?
Say, sister.
Well, Elwyn wants to overthrow him, so.
Aaron, is that what you want?
Owen doesn't want to stay here. Wait, you want to stay here forever? What?
No, he wants to get the shard away from him. And
You
he
see me
refuses.
staring into my phone, looking at a picture of Marissa. I'm like, yeah, that he's not the rightful owner. His sister is.
What should we do about it?
Remember, well, you're supposed to. You're supposed to.
Wait, Elwin, you have the answer to this.
I do. I do.
Yeah.
That's my answer.
You could cast the following. I wish, without changing the date, that What's Her Bucket was whatever their of age is.
Dude. That could work.
Say what now?
Elwin could wish that Depth Lord Limpdick's sister was old of age, like adult, where she would be the rightful, where he would have to give her the shard.
It is not your worst idea ever.
I've seen worse ones. Blowing old Queen's arm off.
It seems to have had the desired effect.
Yes.
It seems
Blowing
to
her
have,
arm off.
Yes.
Yeah, no.
Yes.
We just had. I will recount my conversation with the Queen with them.
Okay. You know,
Blowing her arm off. Is that on page what? 165 of Elwin's book.
Oh God.
I yell
Wait.
out in the water.
You douchebags of the Dick Lords. Where are you at?
It's Deep Throat Limpdick.
Deep Lord,
Deep
Limpdick.
Lord, like his race, like are they based off of like age and seniority, or is this like sort of like a patriarchal society where you would need to wish her a dude? I'm just.
It's her in her family. The women are the rulers, but she's not. She hasn't reached adulthood yet. That's why he has the shard.
So Death Lord Lamprax and his sister.
But we wonder whether he would actually give it up.
Yo, Dick Lord.
Do you remember his sister?
Him,
His sister
Dick.
was the one that was ordered to follow you around
Mhm.
Deimos and
Yep.
do whatever you said at the party.
Yep. Where's she at? Where are they both at?
You managed to get out of that marriage at least, Deimos.
Yeah. Where are they both at?
So what's the married life like?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You're married now.
Well, that is not how it works.
Deimos
just
is no
heard-
longer single.
I just heard from like how this world works. Is
Rinley will be so
different
disappointed.
area codes, different doesn't matter.
I'm so proud right now. That was the number one rule.
It was I read the
Different
book.
area codes.
Speaking of marriage, Elwin, how is your little thing going? Are you a king yet?
Call it a little thing. Oh, that. Not yet. It's a work in progress.
Going in the right direction at least?
Yes.
Cool.
This woman deserves the respect.
Oh,
That-
I've got
all
a
the
tidbit
respect
for you.
that I can give her. So,
That's good because the
I'm
queen
gonna-
totally does not dig you.
Oh, she does, but
She's
No, I
afraid-
tried, dude. I
She's afraid
tried.
of the other lady.
I tried to get you.
It's
I
alright.
tried to get you king of two kingdoms, and she shot you down hard.
no, it's all right. I could take her if I wanted. No, but this other one deserves the respect that she needs. I give her 1 day, 2 days before I whip it out. I'm a classy guy.
Well,
She
you know,
deserves it.
I might. I'm gonna do another sending, and I'm gonna send another message to Profane One, and I'm gonna ask him to ask his mistress if she would be amicable to possibly maybe restoring that city.
Anwen? The city
Yeah.
of Anwen?
Because I'm pretty sure she could if she really wanted to.
If she really wanted to, it would look different because, of its proximity to the Maw of the Void.
Right. But we're fixing that, right, guys?
See what? No, I thought we were leaving.
No, we still have to deal with these three yahoos because one of them can't turn the shard on. Then we have to go up top and find the other thingy to open the gate, and then we got to get rid of the moss so it doesn't eat this entire plane.
I think if we get both gates, we'll probably find a way to close them off.
Probably.
Well, that's one thing we didn't talk to Renly about. What do we call them? The vigils.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Oh,
one
yeah.
here.
There's two here.
There's two here. Sorry. Yeah. So I tell Renly what we found out. And Midas, can you say it? Because
So
I do not remember.
yeah, the tide shards, all four of them now make up the vigil of Verkle.
Mm-hmm.
There were two gods that were the gatekeepers of this plane: Verkle of the sea and Saloon of the night sky and the moon. Um, on the surface, so Lunaria was primarily a surface world. The continents had many civilizations and many cultures and vast sprawling empires and stuff like that. Um, and the underwater kingdoms were relatively small in comparison. The So there's another vigil on the surface, the vigil of
On
Saloon.
the surface or in the sky?
On the surface, as far as you know.
Okay. Okay, so we are going up, and it's just a matter of figuring out with this whole what do you call it? Thingamabobs. Oh my god,
Right.
I'm still doing the wizards and what's
But before we go up, we need to deal with Deep Throat Limp Dick.
That's who I'm pointing at with my flipper. I'm like pointing at Lamprey.
Oh, are you still a flounder?
This is still a flounder, and I'm just like, so you got your wish ready? I mean, when's it going off? I mean, she's standing right there. Well, she's floating right there. Do you want to do something? I mean,
Why'd
guys.
you?
So
You guys
so
actually
she's
can't see outside the dome. It's blacked out.
so like, it doesn't take you guys long to find where Depth Lord Lamprex is. All the other leaders and their attendants and stuff are hurriedly coordinating and ordering stuff around. Lamprex is just sitting there holding on to his big spear, looking
Is he
imperious.
still in reproductive mode?
I walk up to him.
That's right, he was. He was in reproductive
He
form.
was.
Lamprex, Dick Lord. Limp Dick Dem. I don't even care what your name is. Go asshole.
Deep Throat
Over here.
Limp Dick.
Deep Throat Limp
Throat
Dick.
Limp Dick.
Over here.
Deimos, are you still sexually aroused from your interaction with Zivarisy?
He's
No.
level 5 exhausted, baby. He can barely walk.
That's right. That's right.
No,
That's right.
that's like a DC 50 con save to not still be pitching a 10.
So Lamprex looks at you, and he's in reproductive mode too. He says, "I don't know what you're at, surface dweller, but if you wish to reproduce with me, just the biology would not work.
No.
Lose the idea.
No. Limp Dick. We
But
need you.
if you wish me to
We need the
implant
strongest
my
warrior.
seed into you, to fertilize your eggs, then perhaps we can come up with an arrangement."
I'm really confused. And what you're saying. But we're here for you. Because we need the strongest, obviously most powerful, best fighter
That's me.
that the sea has to offer.
Yes,
And
that's
I
me.
need you. Would you like to help us fight against the demons of the surface? Because you're the only one we can trust.
Wait.
Because of your power. And you are so radiant. And we will give you a strong body. Almost of like a god.
He says, "We do not have surface form."
But you can. We have the power. And we can
Only
really
the
use you
rightful
with this.
queen of my people can have surface form.
Well, how about this? You let your puny, weak sister hold on to that stone while you come with us. She'll hold on to it for you while you become the beacon of the sea on the land because of your super cool powers and your high self-esteem because you should have high self-esteem.
Hey, Deimos, ask him if it's the law that he can't have legs.
You, is it the law you can't have legs? Because we can give you legs. For
No.
land purposes.
He says, "Only the queens, the rightful rulers of my people, can have the power to bring forth surface form, to change their bodies so."
But we can change you now. We supersede that power. As you could tell, we're significantly power than your entire cultures put together.
Wait, hold
Wait,
on, Deimos.
Is Deimos' wife here? Is Deimos' wife here in her human form?
No, wait, no. So
No,
what you're
he
saying?
broke the human form.
So what you're saying is that the rightful ruler of your people is able to turn into surface dweller.
Yes,
you would
that's what I'm
recognize-
saying.
You would recognize such a person as the ruler of your people.
He pauses. He says, "Well, you see, I
I'm just returning the words that you just said. So, from what your logic is, if the rightful ruler of your people can turn into surface dweller form, then you would absolutely recognize them as the leader of your people. Am I correct? Or
Yes.
are you gonna go back on your word like a liar?
He said, the only one who could even take that form is the lamprey." He points over at her. He says, "That little squirt over there is nowhere near the right age for it. It will be 20, 30 spans before she comes of age."
That does not answer my question. I need a simple yes or no.
He says, "If the rightful queen were here before me and were of age to take on surface form, then I would acknowledge her, yes."
Great. Awesome. Have you tried some tequila?
Thanks for giving us the
He
answer.
says, "Are you trying to get me to implant my seed into your eggs?"
Yes, he is.
I would break you like a twig if you tried to reproduce with me.
That
Have you
sounds like
heard?
a deep throat
I-
limp
I
dick.
turned-
That
I-
sounds like a challenge to me.
I turned to
He's challenging your
into
manhood.
my book and show him the page that says the vampiric half dragon lich Tarask.
Deimos and him have totally done that one.
He looks at it and he says, "This looks like a scene in the heavens from when the Red God came and slaughtered all the people of this land."
Yes, it's pretty much what it's based on. It's gonna slaughter your booty hole.
He says,
And all the inhabitants of it.
he makes a will saving throw, and then he says, "Death Lord Lamprex has no interest in taking part in your barbaric and primitive practices. I
But
just
technically, stuff in the land is overall usually more evolved than stuff in the water. But it's fine that that's how you think it is. But you sit right here. We'll be right back with the ruler."
And I just walk away.
okay."
Guys, I can totally make her older. I just blew my load back there trying to impress Carissa. So I need to sleep before I can cast a 9th level spell.
What did you say?
Can't Deimos give you back spell slots?
I'm pretty sure I can do that. Damn. Spell slots. So many spell slots. Just take some spell slots.
All right,
I've
Ellen.
taken all of Deimos' power. Ooh, Deimos' power. Flowing through Elwyn.
My little tiny.
So much more
This one-
tingling in one day. My God, Elwyn.
Let's watch this movie I made.
Deimos,
I made.
how does the somatic component of this spell work? Does it require physical injection
Of what?
It's a shield, right?
to give Elwyn your power?
No. We just stare into each
So-
other's
so
eyes
Deimos-
longingly.
Deimos, you
That's a
start,
Tuesday for Damewin.
you guys are, Deimos, you're starting to recharge Elwyn's spell slots, and then you feel the tentacles starting to wrap around your torso. She says, "Darling," she says, "may I ask what you are doing? Is this a
step in.
surface
I
dweller
step in.
rating ritual?"
I say, hey, Zivarisy, you might
Yes,
be
Elwyn.
the spouse of my best friend Deimos.
"We are betrothed. He consummated upon me, and I consummated upon him."
But I consummated him and he consummated me before he consummated you. So I win, you lose. Suck it. He's mine first. And let us finish our Deimos Elwyn dance. We call this the Damewin. Back off, bitch.
She says, Deimos, in your land, are you allowed to take both a female wife and a male wife at the same time?
Only if your name is Deimos.
And Delwyn.
It's a weird law. And Elwyn. Actually, if your name's Elwyn, you can just get a bunch of female wives too.
Yeah.
Deimos got the short end of the stick. I'm only allowed one male and 14 female wives.
You're lucky to. I have to approve on them too.
He has to. It's the law, but the best part about this is you getting married so early on, you get a higher stature.
She says, Ah, I see. I admit I do not know much of how the surface dwellers conduct their mating rituals and their courtships, but I guess. She pauses. She says, I agree to this. She says,
Yeah.
she says,
Only
I
because
will
I
have.
let you agree to it.
She says, as long as, she says, as long as I have say as well.
Of course.
Equal say.
You're
As
the
is
number
befitting.
two.
As is befitting the first female wife.
Ooh, it's
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You're 100%. Yeah. I agree. You should have equal say amongst the other wives.
In
I
this
own-
situation, Deimos,
I
your
own
wife too?
51% equity. As for now, you own 49.
Of what? His ass?
So we have come to an agreement. You shall have equal equity as the other wives. No, as being first wife, you shall have always more equity than any other wife that comes next. Good talk.
Yeah, she always has 51%, and the other 49 is divided amongst the other wives.
She pauses. She says, I find this agreeable. And if I decide that the arrangement is not in my favor, then I will be informing the Queen of the theft of her personal objects.
right. You helped in that. That would be bad for both of us.
She says, Oh, you are a clever one. There's no wonder in that I chose you as mine own.
It's true. I have the highest charisma in all of the oceans.
Very well, continue in your male coupling. I will be off speaking with my informants.
Oh, while you're speaking to your informants, we have found a way. And I give her a wink, because you know how we were partners in the Depler thing?
Mhm.
We believe we have found a way. Zivarisy, you are going to make an awesome co-spouse.
She says, Very well.
Don't think that Deimos and I will never... No, Deimos and I will always give you the voice that you deserve. And it is welcome. I give her a high five.
She slaps it with a couple tentacles.
Nice.
Okay, so what are you guys doing? With Lamprey? You have all your spell slots,
Alright.
spell slots back, Elwin.
Yeah, so I'm gonna roll my percentage die to see if I don't lose my spell again.
It's 30% chance?
Yep.
So, so percentage die,
But
so
what
30,
is it?
yeah, 33% or lower and you lose it. Anything else is good.
Alright, let me check something real quick. I have one lucky left. Does it apply?
No, not to this.
What if I... Yeah, I don't have shit.
Holy shit!
Okay,
I'm
you're
trying
good.
to figure out why you didn't just true polymorph her, Adis.
Because this is a wish.
Because if I true polymorph her, she will no longer be Lamprey and no longer the ruler of her people. Because you become what you get polymorphed into.
Oh, I think I was like an older version of Lamprey. I was wondering.
I wouldn't have any reference.
Okay, so Owen, what are you wishing?
As I go deep into my mind, remembering the last wish I cast, how it went so fucking awesome, I gained some inspiration. And I look over at Carissa and say, I want to hit that. And then I look back at what the fuck's her name? Lamprey?
Yeah.
Look back at Lamprey, and I start imagining her 20 years older. That's what we're shooting for, right?
Make sure you incorporate that the current time doesn't change. The date doesn't change, because otherwise you could get pulled into the future without us.
Bro, I'm gonna roll a Constitution saving throw to see if my concentration lapses because you're talking in my ear. Okay, I'm good.
Close. You dropped a 1.
And I wish for Lamprey's body and mind to grow older. Only her, leaving the space and time around her the same. I just wish for her to come of age, to take ownership of the shard that she is the rightful owner of. And then I wish for, integrating into my wish, for Death Throw Lamprax's reproduction form, for his red rocket to be about 1/4 the size that it is right now.
Okay.
Permanently. Make that part permanent.
It's implied.
All right. So you passed your thing. Go ahead and roll me a d20. Okay. So you're looking at Lamprey, and your wish is for her to accelerate in her aging process, and not just physically, but you want her mind to develop as well, so she can be a competent and benevolent kind of ruler, one who has the insight of an adult. And you know that these creatures, their aging process is much different than a human lifespan. So you're literally talking, several decades worth of aging. So Lamprey, you realize that her species, at a certain age, they go into like a chrysalis form, where they're dormant for years at a time, and then they break out. So you kind of bring her over and you tell her what's going to happen, and she's excited to get out of this phase because she realizes that there's need for her and for the tide shard. So willing to do this, she goes along with the spell, and you cast it, and Lamprey is no more. Instead, she emerges from the chrysalis in her mature female state.
Whoa.
It's another face weird person.
Mine's hotter.
Hey, don't look at the name.
The Votalan people, you can tell that their race is a more aggressive, and they were the warlike species beneath the sea, right? So Lamprey comes out, and this is her mature form. And she says to you, I thank you, Elwyn, for bringing me forward in years so that I can take my crown. She says. She snaps her fingers, and Lamprax, her brother, comes swirling over, and he sees her, and he bows before her, right? And he says, Lamprax, Give to me that which is mine. And he reaches in underneath the shell plate that is his torso, and he pulls out the spike-like shard that is the shard of light, and he hands it to her. She takes it and she affixes it to her crown, and she says, "Very good. Now," she says, "be a good lad," she says, "and see to the status of our armies. She says, I do not wish them to be in disarray." He nods and he kind of swims off.
Yeah.
She looks at you all and she says, "And now," she says, "what do I," she says, "what do you expect from me after having given me advancement into my kingdom? Is there anything you require of me in return?"
We gotta stick those shards together.
"Ah, you wish me to join my shard with the other queens.
Yeah.
To what purpose, pray tell?"
Well, your entire plane is falling apart. That one.
She says, "Of this I am aware. But what would joining my shard with the others do in ceasing the destruction of my plane?"
Probably help.
"Probably.
I'm sticking to it. Most likely, I mean, it's gonna help more than not doing it.
And you think you can stop this crisis?"
Well, yeah, it's kind of a job.
It's in the description.
Hey.
Have you not seen our webpage?
Does she not get this? Yes, that's what we do, young lady. We fix things.
She says, "Deimos,
Mhm.
it is only because you were kind to me in my youth that I even consider this."
Well, remember, now, in your wizened prime, everything that we had to do to get to this point, do you believe us incapable of doing what we say?
I still have my doubts.
Shit,
You
we
see,
made another tie shard. We're pretty important, I swear. Please.
There was a fourth tide shard created. We have brought you to your prime age where you could take over as the rightful leader of your people.
Destroyed all the megaliths.
just
And
yes,
we
yes,
fought megaliths.
and surrounded my kind with a million depations that we now have to broker a unsteady peace and a fourth of the tide shard power with. She says,
Yeah.
she says,
He bolstered the sea. Your sea is more powerful than ever.
"There is another vigil, you are aware."
Yeah. And we want you to make sure you guys are safe while we try to do that stuff.
She says, "Joining our tide shards together will accomplish you little. It will not open the gateway to the plane above until the vigil of Saloon has been reclaimed. But if you are able to do so in the wastelands above, then I would be happy to join my tide shard with the others and reinitiate the godship on this realm."
Alright. Sounds good. But also, you have to marry Renly.
She looks at
The
she looks at-
flounder head tilts.
she looks at the flounder. She says, "That one?"
She's... Yes, but she gets way bigger. Well, she's not much bigger.
Just
Renly, how big are you?
I'm head tilting still, and then I head tilt all the way around, 360 degrees.
I'm just
Where are
joking.
we going with this?
She says,
Wait, hold on. I just had an idea, guys.
Yes.
There's 4 tight shards. There's 4 of us.
Oh, wait,
We
Edis, you have
each
to bang the
marry
crab.
one of them.
Oh, Edis has to bang the crab. Yeah.
I am not interested in starting a harem. Okay, been there, done that. Let's move on.
been there, done that.
Alright, Zivarisy, whatever your name is, we'll get back to that, okay? But for right now, we're gonna go to the wastelands above.
She looks at you, Renly. She says, I would tear that one apart.
Who are you talking about? I turn around.
Let me train her for a couple of days, and she'll be a good match.
She says, fetch the other vigil, and I will be tending to my people.
It's cool. I'm glad
says-
that you grew up.
As she turns around, she pauses and she turns her head, so you see the side of her face. She says, "You may have thought that by deposing my brother, you were gaining yourself an ally, but know that I am far more cunning and far more dangerous than my dull-headed brother ever was."
Well, yeah. I mean,
Of course.
that rock over there is actually more dangerous than your brother was. Oh, so is that rock. There's a lot of things that were more dangerous than your brother.
She says,
I mean, shoot, have you heard about the over-demon, Midas?
she says, I and my people will continue to cooperate with the other monarchs because it is in our best interest to do so. She says, I pray that you hurry, because who knows what will happen in the near future.
Cool. So yeah, we're gonna go to the
I just keep staring at her, and I say,
but then you own her. Well, actually,
no,
wait
no.
a second.
No,
don't
hold
do
on,
that.
dude.
You
No,
own
no.
you.
No, we're good on that. I say, I take your word of cooperating with the other monarchs. We will keep our word. We have never failed.
She says, I believe you. And I believe that you think that you can do this. So let's see what occurs next.
Let's leave it at that. We'll leave this as an alliance.
She says, oh yes, you may consider us allies. For the time being. And she begins to swim away.
Good. Okay. I turn around and say, fuck, I think we fucked up, guys.
You
Oh,
do
no.
realize she's gonna backstab us at the earliest opportunity,
Oh, no.
right?
She's just like a war type of creature, where she's trying to work out for her people.
Yes,
Trust
as
me,
the
this is
new
right.
god of the sea. Once they combine the turret shards,
Oh,
yes,
but that's not how that works.
sure.
No, after the tight charts are combined and we open up the vigil, then we can bring Synthelizer and her badass voice to kind of calm this bitch down. Maybe she'll fall in love.
Actually, I can see it.
I pull out a recording of Synthelizer's voice just to hear it again.
Satellites are
Please,
is
Midas.
awesome, but
Satelliter, why
I
are
push
you
play on that voicemail that she left me last.
Yeah.
What would she say, Midas? What'd she say?
What'd she say,
She
Midas?
said-
Come on.
He says, "Oh yeah, baby, you want me to smack that ass? You want me to smack that ass so hard, baby?"
oh god. Was this in reaction to all the video streaming of Deimos?
So Renly, roll a perception check.
Oh god.
Yeah. So while you were streaming, you saw a side stream just pop up just very briefly, right? And you heard that. You heard Satellites' voice come across um the what do you call it? The feed, right? And then
Mhm.
accompanied was another voice going, oh, but, oh.
Oh God.
Like, no, it's too much. It's too much for me. And that was all you heard.
Oh.
Forget it, worse.
All right. Okay. Are you guys going to the surface, or what are you guys doing? Anything else to finish up?
Yes, to finish up, I will visit my lady love in the ocean,
Okay.
and I will tell her that I must go on to my next dangerous task.
She says,
I do this not for you or for me, but for everyone involved. It is my duty in life. I always take upon these tasks, but I will never forget your beauty and the thing that we share. I hope that upon my return, we can make this unity a little more permanent.
Hey, are you sure you don't want to come with? I mean, you might get really powerful, and like, we usually get, if you don't die, things usually get really, really good. You sure you don't want to come with?
No, Renly. She needs to be here.
She can make up her own mind.
she says,
That is true, Karina. You can make up your own mind. But I wish to keep you from the harm that we will walk into. But not only that, you're the only one that I trust to keep Ursula in check. You must watch your back with her.
she says, the awakened tide shot of light is dangerous, to be sure. She says, but I, Elwyn, control the might of the sea.
And the might of my heart.
She smiles and she says, hurry on your task, dear. She says, I will be tending to my people and maintaining the peace here. Delvinia is well intentioned, but she needs some moral guidance. And it seems that Ursula will be, she says, obstinate at best. And who knows what the patience will require. Says, I will do my best here to maintain the peace and to forge our alliance stronger, as my mother would have, and as my aunt would have before her. You set out on the quest that your destiny holds for you. And perhaps, perchance, should our paths cross in the future, well, I may be more, she says, more amenable to your advancements then.
With that, I shall take my leave and do my best to return. And maybe you'll get to meet Eloise. Bye.
Okay. So,
Was there just a thunderclap in the ocean when he said that?
so you guys have to decide. Right now, you guys are here. Right there-ish. You guys need to figure out where you want to go on the surface world.
Do we know where the other temple was or used to be, or?
So in the archives that you guys raided in Anwen, I mean, you had maps of Lunaria as it used to be, but the whole continent, all the islands and the surface above, have been splintered and torn apart, and most of them drowned and reoriented. So let's see here. Who's gonna try to figure out? You do have an indication combing through those of the temple of Saloon.
So can someone take an original map of what Lunaria used to look, make a grid, and then basically put a maw in the center and start twisting the paper to get an idea of how the contents have shifted, like a
Yeah,
3D grid,
it's gonna
and
take
then
a little bit of work. So Renly, so go ahead and make um
I saw
a.
this on YouTube. Don't ask me what that is. And
All
then
right,
I start doing that.
all right. So I need Renly and one other person who's helping Renly to
Someone
make
with actual brains, people.
intelligence
As a
checks.
stat.
While
Intelligence
she's
checks.
doing that, I'll just cast Legend Lore to figure out where it's at.
Does anyone have brains then?
I do.
Yeah, but you're doing
Intelligence checks.
legend
Both of you.
lore.
So Adis and Renly, intelligence checks.
Okay, perfect. That's not awful.
Okay. Um, the best you can tell, the continents have been quite twisted, and they look very different. But looking at a couple of the mountain ranges and your knowledge of what the surface world looks like, and the brief moment, and the brief and the little snippets of information that Zivarisy and her information network are able to give you, and also of what you saw when you were above water. Your best guess is that the Temple of Saloon would have been on this continent here.
Alrighty, that narrows it down.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So what do you guys want to do?
Oh, and since the whirlpool is going counterclockwise, and they're splintered, broken up, if the continent's actually moved, it's probably over here. But I'll still legend lore it to see if it'll tell me anything. Like what direction it is from us. I'll try to parse if I can.
The whirlpool's going clockwise.
Was it? Oh,
Yeah.
because when we went there, we teleported to like right here, and you said that we got up and over the top of it.
Was it? No, you guys went around the bottom. You went this way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's clockwise.
Then that would probably put it somewhere over here if it's moved. If not,
All right, go ahead and cast Legend Lore.
let's see here. I just had it. There you go. It may just tell me where it used to be. It might not tell me where it is, but it's worth a shot. All the locate spells have to be within a really short distance, so.
Yeah. So it used to. Okay, so clarifying between your intelligence check and legend lore, it used to be here. Right?
So we got out our waterproof map, and me and Rinley are like, it was here.
So
How
you guys
long's the void been here?
it's been
In our time, not
in
their time.
Earth years, on the material plane, it's been 5 or 6 years since it opened up. As far as how time passes here in this realm, it's been more like a decade.
So I'm thinking, gents, that we go above, and then we go this way, and then go north from there if it's not there.
Okay, fuck it. I'm looking at the sky or like the ceiling.
Somewhere in here.
I'm looking at the sky or the ceiling. I'm like, powers that be, anyone looking down. Where the heck is Saloon's like vigil? Like, where is that located right now? And
Yeah, give us
I
a
guess
little
divine truth. Let's just see. Just hoping the roll goes okay.
Oh, divine truth. What's that
Oh.
one again? I forget.
Okay.
Oof. Yes, your guide, patron of the
So
universe, DC 18 spellcasting check. You learn the utter truth of the matter. Okay.
and you should totally spark that so you get exact to the foot GPS coordinates.
Do I have sparks left? Do I have sparks left? I have one spark left! Never mind. It's just normal.
It's wrist shot.
So Renly, the best you can tell after narrowing it down, and after casting divine truth between your intelligence checks and your Adis's legend lore and your deduction, that it is indeed on this continent here.
Alrighty, to the continent.
Well, you know what that means, Rinley? That
What?
the continent's still there. Because if the Maw had tore it up and moved it, then your spell would have told you that.
Well, this is the after picture, and I show a map with like the full continents. That's the before picture. The continent was over there, see in the top right, and now it's shifted all the way down here.
Ah, I see. So, hey, Owen, you want to see if your tentacle friend could like stick a line out that way to kind of shorten our trip?
So I whip out my thing and I'm like, so what do you want my tentacle friend to do?
You whip it back and forth.
For
Okay.
the teleport thing. We need one as
Oh.
far as close like out as close to that continent as we can get, so we don't have to fly
Oh.
as far.
Okay. Hey, Gelly.
Gilly doesn't take you very long to find her. She goes, "Yes, Gelly's here."
Hey, Gelly girl. Who's my favorite jellyfish?
Gelly is. I know it.
Oh,
yeah,
by the way,
Gelly
Gelly,
is the best.
I need
Gelly
you to
is
sign
my
this
friend.
non-disclosure agreement.
Hold on, you interrupted my song. That's rude, huh, Gelly?
Oh, you were singing a song. My apologies.
Well,
Just-
I'm sorry, Gelly. My inspiration has been broken, but I have a question. Do you have any of your
Pleasure? Yes, Gelly has pleasure here.
Hold on, Gelly.
Yes, Elwin wants pleasure. Yeah, give it to him.
Gelly, on the pleasure thing,
Yeah.
I know how much you love giving me pleasure, and you know how much I love receiving your pleasure. But I have another question at the moment.
Yes? Yes?
Gelly, the princess shot
Does-
him down. He needs pleasure.
You know what? Fuck you and your tentacle thing. Never mind, Gelly. I'm sorry for bothering you. You can go back to what you were doing.
Gelly goes, Gelly says, Gelly will return to seeking out ocean and finding, she says, any dangers to our people.
Gelly, before you go, come here. I need to speak to you in private.
She kind of bobs along behind you.
Alright, Gelly. Don't tell frickin' Adis that I asked you this, but do you have a tentacle line that goes near the continent where we have to go? In that direction? That we can travel faster than having to swim there?
She says, information network does extend. She says, in that direction. Good distance, yes.
Good. Alright, so do you mind if I tap into that? And then maybe use your information network afterwards?
You wish to tap into Gelly?
Of course.
What? What?
Gelly, you're my favorite jellyfish.
She smiles. She says, Gelly allows you to use information network again, yes.
Gelly, you are the most incredible, magnificent, beautiful, astonishing creature that I have ever met.
She's all smiling now, and she turns a deeper shade of blue.
Rinley, he's so gonna tap that.
Kelly, I wish I could bottle you up and put you in my pocket and take you everywhere I went, just so I can look at you and smile whenever I feel down.
Kelly says, Kelly would not fit in bottle.
I know, and that is why you must stay here and help your people.
Okay.
But I will mount you and then use your information network. I won't.
What?
She says, here. She says, and she reaches over to like her head, and off of the plume on her head, you can see a silvery line heading off. She says, this connects to various networks that will take you in direction you chose.
My beautiful Gellyflower. Thank you.
Just, Gelly will be here. You have good travels. Be safe. Do not die.
If I ever die, my soul will come back and haunt you in a nice way.
Then Gelly will give your soul pleasure as well.
I high-five her.
She one of her larger tentacles wraps around your arm, and you can feel it tingling all up to your shoulder.
I do my Alright, let's go, guys. I need a smoke.
All right. Any other?
Onwards.
Wherever.
Okay.
Get us close to the surface too, Owen, if you can.
Any other preparations or things you want to do?
I'm gonna make sure Tempest has recovered from all of the post like war hijinks, etc.
Oh, yeah.
Is ready for travel.
Oh, you find Tempest, and you find him working with the Deimos, actually. A lot of the merfolk have been a little hesitant to work with the Deimos, but he's there, communing with their commanding officers. He's talking to them. He's helping them organize into like more disciplined battalions and that kind of stuff.
Ooh.
New ruler of the Depations in the making.
Tempest says to you, as you come up, he says, no, he says, I don't wish to rule them. It's just that a truly benevolent individual does not judge others just because of their appearance, and these creatures are more menacing than many of the finer looking folk in this area. But they are of infinite worth as well.
What a godly thing to say.
Well,
Is
are
what?
you ready to feeble their asses?
He says, if anyone needs smiting, he says, my sword has been quiet for too long.
Yeah, I have a feeling we're gonna be using them. Yep. We're heading to the surface, dude.
Okay. He goes along with you, and Elwyn, you teleport them.
Oh, wait.
Oh, okay, what?
Owen, before you teleport. Deimos, you gotta see if you still got it.
Got what?
Right.
What if Tiny Whitey?
Tear some space and time, bro.
I'm so tired. But
See if you still got it.
I could put one in, and I close my eyes, and I reach out, and feeling tentacles behind me, I grab the shit in front of me and try to tear it. I'm sorry, I'm afraid. I pissed myself.
Spark it, Deimos. Spark
I
it.
can't. I'm out of sparks.
Deimos, you shut your eyes, you flex every muscle in your body, especially your glutes, and you reach out in front of you and you grab the substance in front of you and you rip it open and you take a step forward, right? And you open your eyes and you
Holy shit.
realize that you move through space and time, the distance of 8 inches.
I am It
You
still
did it.
works,
You
guys.
still got it,
I
Deimos.
still got it. Old reliable right here.
That was pretty epic. You should pray to Tempest for giving you such power.
Thank you so much for allowing me still to transcend space and time. I knew those workouts were for that reason.
Is Tempest glaring at us? Because if he is, I just give him a nod.
Yeah. Tempest is just shaking his head. He's doing a face palm kind of motion.
I'm like rolling my hands, like, okay, time to move on, time to keep going. Let's go, people. I want to
Okay.
see the freaking sun.
You guys teleport across the sea. So on the map is how far you teleport, and then you catch once you arrive there. You take a current up to the surface. So the ocean is pretty deep, So you guys are like currently a mile underwater at least.
I'll turn into a dragon turtle and pull everybody up.
Okay. You're traveling upwards at a pretty fast pace. As you do, the darkness of the ocean begins to grow lighter. You can feel the surface, the pressure, the aquatic pressure around you, just kind of fading or just lightening up, and it's a little disorienting as you guys rise to the surface so quickly. But you burst onto the shore and make your way to the land past it. And as you do, you arrive on the shore just right where the circle is. And you climb onto the shore, and drenched and your feet on solid ground. It's a little disorienting. You're kind of like Sandra Bullock in Gravity at the end of the movie when she like stumbles onto the sand. And 1 second here. Where's my picture? You gaze out at an arid and very spacious and violent wasteland. The winds are howling, whipping about, tearing. The sands are flaring and spiraling and swirling through the air. Your head above the now that you guys are on land, you feel the coarseness of the sand striking at your skin, your eyes, and your hair is flapping. The wind is pulling here, strong as any current you felt underneath the water, and it's abrasive. It's coursing, and you can feel that your skin is beginning to blister and crack where the wind and the sand is striking it. You guys are now above the surface of Lunaria, and you realize that things above the water were much, much worse, and the influence of the Maw of the Void was much more severe above ground than it was beneath the surface.
Is there like a giant hurricane off
Of course
where
it
the mall
was.
was?
Off in that direction. I mean, you look over there, and you do see that the spiral of the maelstrom also continues up into the sky as the clouds are spiraling above it, and everything. It's like this huge, like tornado-like funnel pouring down into the maw, and along with it, it's sucking in everything around it as well. So, it's like I said, the effects of its power, of its pull, are definitely more severe above ground than beneath the oceans.
Alright, let's go back in the water. I'll make us a hut and we need to sleep.
Okay. So, I mean, you guys can back off into the water beneath the surface a little bit. You cast Lehman's hut, and you guys kind of are going to sit back and try to plan your next steps. And we'll call it there for...
I'm missing like half my spell slots, so we need to take a break.
Yeah, we can call it there for tonight. That's a good spot to end it.
Sounds good.
All right.
If I'm being honest, Midas, I totally expected that witch to cut my head off. Like straight up,
Which one, Ursula or the Queen?
the queen.
Ah, nah, she was.
I was not
Elwyn had
expecting
talked her out of it.
Ursula.
You were not
Huh?
expecting what, Renly?
I was not expecting Ursula. I was like, okay, that was a different twist.
Well, I had the picture sitting in my box. I was like, I have to use it for something. She was either going to be the sea witch that you guys went out to go talk to, or you guys turned Lamprey into her. So.
Oh God.
But yeah, the Vitalan people are very warlike and aggressive people. So Lamprey, in her grown-up form, she grew into herself there.
Yeah, definitely.
We created a monster.
And another ham. I mean, congrats, Deimos.
Good.
Oh yeah, Deimos is married, in real life and in the game.
There's Bruce. Never gonna have sex again.
And because of that idea, Elwyn didn't have to try to hook the queen up with Deep Throat Lippendick.
Which is a good thing.
When that part where she said that she deserves an equal say in the wives, I'm like, yep, you do. The wives.
Well, she called you a wife too, so I feel like she was very much equal opportunity wives. Everyone's a wife.
No, Deimos is the wife. I'm the husband.
All right, I appreciate you running the game.
Yep.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I'll see
Midas.
you guys.
Oh,
You
yeah.
too.
We'll catch
Hey,
you guys next
my-
week. Yeah.
Are
Yep,
Sauce
def-
and April making an appearance?
Yeah. I don't work
Yes.
today,
So,
so
though I will only be getting back at like 6 p.m. my time, like Pacific. So let's see what happens.
Yeah,
So I'll be there
can't
for the tail.
I can't promise this the
The
list.
wife? Yeah.
Ah man, it's so hard because I love the voice is what makes Sauce good.
Dude, hold on. Can you do the voice right now?
It's me, the sauce.
The wife
So
hates so much.
Dude, sometimes where he's doing Sauce, you can hear Nick in the background. Anthony! And then he goes quiet for like 20 minutes.
Does she not like the voice?
No. I guess the best way to say it is yes, strong no.
It's fucking hilarious.
I gotta like whisper it sometimes while I'm trying to do something when she's in a different room. Sometimes it doesn't work.
That's funny.
Yeah, well.
All right.
I'll see you
All right.
guys.
Cool.
See you guys.
Oh
Thanks,
wait,
guys.
what time tomorrow? It's 6 or 7? 7. Okay. Cool. Peace.
All right. Later, guys.
See ya.
See you.